All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. I'm Rich Millet, the one and only. And this is the quarantine stream, the 63rd one. And let us hear the ever lovely, ever wonderful, ever beautiful, ever green quarantine stream theme, shall we? Beautiful. You're all doing okay out there? Mm. Yikes. We'll get this straight in a second. It's called Transformacion. The gold-winged gold-leaf ivory elevator doors open to reveal a portrait of an orchard, saying, "This wicker basket contains every memory you've ever had, so if you've got a purple number, come over, pull out a slip, and start to reminisce." Me and my sister playing parlor tricks in the back seat while Dad turns up the radio to drown us out. Then he leads down, increasing speed on the way to the dog show. Come over, and pull out another favorite. Another favorite. Your mother posing with an inflatable dinosaur, saying, "What in God's name is this?" Semi-finalists in the quarterfinals of our school's district's annual spelling bee, and I got here on an easy word: charisma. Afterward, we went out for ice cream cake, even though my mom wanted bagels instead. We let her hold the trophy as something of a meta sort of consolation prize. Transformacion, the baby blue lagoon gull wing elevator doors open to reveal a balloon crooning in a soprano profundo. Today you're in the classroom, sitting in between a magic wand and a sprinkler, behind a rhinoceros and in front of a stethoscope, ready to make toothpaste out of erasers, lipstick, and hairspray. Today you're in the classroom and your substitute teacher is Adeline, a 102-year-old oak tree, and you're making birthday presents for her best friend. You're ready to make nylons out of eyeliner and passport pages filled with stamps of horse-shaped signatures. Transformacion! The pleated red vinyl elevator doors open to reveal a singing taxi. Today it's your birthday and you get breakfast in bed, served on a star-shaped black and white television set, blinking lights on the pillow heads, milk on a blue and white dress. Today it's your birthday and you get a pink and blue book with blank pages to fill in with drawings of budgies and juice boxes, rainbows over razors, crisp bubblegum in between mint baseball cards. The gold-winged gold-leaf ivory elevator doors open to reveal a portrait of an orchard transplanted to a beach. Today you're taking a surfboard out of a small bus while watching a girl pick up the wallet that fell out of her purse. While your head is plate glass and your arms are oars and your hands are rafts. Today you're making videos on the boardwalk of people roller skating while holding umbrellas or eating ice cream off of towels. While your mouth is a string swimming in circles while daylight is young. And they intend to dream of visiting Plyan, full of pleasant flang tones rhyming ever so tinily and wranglily, and something misheard and turned into a quiet joke among monks at either Brethering Einfell. Oh, for fuck's sake. Should not be. Theories aren't facts. This is called Sympathy for the Cowboy. Sympathy for the cowboy, all alone on the range. After the war ended, he was forced to change his name. Sympathy for the cowboy holding his dying brother, who begged with his last breath, "Tell mother I died with honor." Sympathy for the meth lab and all who fight in harm's way, who hope to abolish minimum wage and charge only $15 a day. Sympathy for modern times and those who argue that they are right. Sympathy for the victim who already has all the laws on their side. Sympathy for the student who's only lived in theory. What is a theory? A bunch of untested ideas. Theory ain't facts. And a hammer and sickle t shirt walking away from the barricade. Sympathy for the lawsuit and all who fought for reform. Sympathy for the bumper sticker telling you to get reborn. Sympathy for the stallion running free and too wild to ride. Sympathy for the motherfucker who tried. His wife cried, him and his foolish pride. Sympathy for the strawberry and the trial separations. Press releases pleading for privacy and, of course, doing it for the kids. Sympathy for the nihilist, sucking on his cigarette, cutting you off in traffic, no constraints of guilt or regret. Sympathy for the stalker on his computer outside, looking up pictures of you in high school, saving each one, even if it takes him all night. Sympathy for the cowboy whose son moved off the ranch, said he might be coming back soon if there's no change of plans. It's called Pearls. There'd been a robbery in her apartment. The dentist dabbed at the blood dripping off his drill and said that was a lot more than I had expected. They had hit Carrie's place while she slept. The cops spent the early hours asking her questions, like did she have any enemies, perhaps somebody in her family. They told her to screen her calls, implored her to invest in some security. Ultimately, however, the only items of value taken were a few pieces of jewelry. Bankers' boxes were duct taped shut and loaded in the truck, their contents filled with scrap to go and get melted down by guys who didn't care whether it came from an abandoned ironworks or was brass stolen from a Catholic school. Gregory never thought it would come to this. The ranch was facing foreclosure. He'd gotten a wedge of glass jammed into his hand, and his girlfriend had spent $25 she didn't have on an ugly antique horseshoe she hung upside down in the doorway. I should have known when we were standing at your mother's grave that we wouldn't speak any longer. I should have known when we were standing at your mother's grave, walled in a cold fog. Gregory looked down at the 4 inches of stained skin on his left forearm and thought what that symbol had meant to him when he was 18, and then how gutted he felt when he noticed the girl at the bank had the same thing on her ankle. While the detective tried to focus on the negatives from the crime scene, intently scanning for details he might otherwise miss, but he was distractedly irritated by the accidental double exposures and dark splotches of silver salts on his fingertips. I used to walk much quicker and look over my shoulder. Now I no longer worry. I used to walk much quicker, but now I've been absolved of all responsibility. There was a beautiful storm last night that disrupted the 90-degree heat and blocked out the 6 p.m. sun. The smell of mud running over the fresh blacktop. Icy rain that came like the crest of a wave, cutting short the humidity. My clothes and hair getting drenched, the holes in the soles of my shoes letting the water soak my feet as I walked in circles across the nearly empty lot. What are we doing out there? Beautiful. called Two Franciscan Nuns. Chewing mint leaves while crossing the Calumet River, the paper mill's exhaust pipes interrupt the vista. Mules weighted with surge protectors, hairspray, and cassettes, a riverboat of morphine-addicted ghosts over there on the left. Two Franciscan nuns wanted to build a hospital, but settled instead for organizing games of chance. In their hotel rooms, they squeeze out extra acidic orange juice and excommunicate people with unpleasant names from the phone book. Two Franciscan nuns helped decorate an admiral in the pensioner's home after he'd misplaced his uniform. They blessed his pills, kissed his parakeet, and as he slept, gathered sets of his false teeth to sell at the swap meet. A brain with blood and oxygen is better than a fish who talks. What some people see as skin discoloration is in fact the natural pigmentation when viewed from the inside. Some newspapermen have always known this, and indeed, they have nothing to hide. Depending on how you want to think about it, this is either called the painter, or painter. He walked all day to the UK, found some money on the floor, and was on his way. He knew the book was blasted, so he saw through the murk. A little sinister, a lot of charming, made him do his work. Well, the painter couldn't stop painting over the image he'd made. It had been perfect before, but now it's just on display. He broke his chair and started to shout, "You have no idea what my art is all about." Now he knows all the presidents, can say them all in a row. And in India he walked real slow. Some mountains, some architects and trees. He fell on his knees and got the picture in mind. But he forgot his sketchbook and he had to leave it all behind. Now he dates a lady with rubies in her ear. The papers say he's idle, but that's not what she hears. There's no more brushes or messy oils on the floor. He's a sculptor now, and he gives his spare marble to her. So that's the story of the painter who ate hamburgers in bed, went to make the scene, and forgot where he put the thread. Called Windy Sequins. Through the missing bricks, you can see a banquet table with a candelabra crooked from water-falling wax. On the other side of the missing bricks, there's a tablecloth with faintly gray claw stains left by mourning doves. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, heaving with indentations from apples, persimmons, cantaloupes, and pears. On the other side of the missing bricks, there's a deer walking in the distance while a finger painting floats to the ground. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table with unopened telegrams and sturdy silver trays stacked up with books about the Enlightenment. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a pebble garden placed on a tree branch next to a mortar and pestle. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, lined along the bottom right edge with bowls of cold dandelion soup. Seated 45 degrees away from the banquet table is a man with a salt and pepper waxed mustache humming waltzes and complaining about the distortions of sounds and colors. 110 years old, and he doesn't know that electric blue can be beautiful too. We'll do the doing okay out there. Beautiful. Do the brother and sister. Written around the same time, released several years apart. First one, of course, is called Jade, and that was in Radar Grain from 2002, and that's the brother, I suppose, and the sister is The Tide, which came out 7 years later in 2009, for those of you who are really lousy at math, and came out in a book. It's not a real book. It was kind of, sort of a compilation. It wasn't like a book the way I do a book, you know what I mean? And if you read it, you can tell. It was like a compilation sort of thing. Anyway, but it was called Communism is Grand. And you could be like, oh, why did you call it Communism is Grand? Are you into communism? And the answer is a resounding fucking no. I am not, nor have I ever been a communist, nor have I ever been associated with any known communists. You know, and they are, of course, known for their filthy communism. But but they're like, oh, but you had a book called Communism is Grand. I said, aha. See, the title is a bit of a joke. Communism was a red herring. You'll notice the cover was red. It was a red herring. And see, communism, by its very definition, cannot be grand. So calling it Communism is Grand was a bit of a joke. It's like saying a happy, depressed person. Communism, by its very nature, is miserable. And yes, capitalism has its fucking problems. You can make a shit version out of anything. Don't subscribe to any ists or isms. Get rid of all the fucking categories. Get rid of all that shit. Think in truth. Deal with human beings as human beings. Deal with truth as truth. Deal with reality as reality. Stop fucking around and wasting your time. That's the Rich Millet way. This is Jade. Winter went without finale. One brain with seagull emeralds and a chop of jade thicker than my wrist. Glancing became the transmission, like a doorbell whistling in a veterans parade. So behind the minute hand extends more than obligation and demands more than devotion. Passion is 10,000 tiny cuts so untraceable they dye emotions without ever gracing the surface. Lightning travel celebrations and standing full face toward the stark light and thin wire sword play. Who's been saying in this bed? No one without articulation, tempo, and psychic extrapolative hysterics. At the break I am pacing, ignorant to stillness, shattering shins, pushing flagpoles out of the fields, locking engines to mortar, and blushing with inevitable glory leave. We're going to go off camera for a second. Be right back. This is the tide. Swimming through the rising tide. Eyes, 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 eyes. Yes, Eve, on the limestone magical entrance. And this is dedicated. We love you, of course. Our girls. I want to find a good one. Ditna. Do we have one of? Let's see. Jungyan, Sui, Nyan, Momo, Mina, Dayan, Geo. No, that's Sana, Geo, and Cheyoung. Just like shorted out. The hell's that? The wind stormed around the asthma liquids and flying cost of yen. The fur was melting in an envelope, lime green irises bobbing in the water. Trying to pry through the quarantine line, topics of conversation overheard, rusting park, yellow shoots and chipped lacquer, birds landing on Mount Fuji. A dulcimer was plucked, floodneck papers rising and collected, outside crisp rings of flickering crossing change. Numbers assigned in a fetal silver displayed, cold crux of current torn by rain and smog-filling ditches, spear thrown into the branch, limestone posts spilled out on the marsh, letters sent with smeared ink, walking through masks for photographs. The motorcade wasn't noticed. Flipped cigarette, punctured wrist. The tide stretched over itself. It's called Parallel Place. I live in a parallel place where the land is level, where the streets are bright in the evenings and I know what tomorrow brings. I live in a parallel place where the wind is cold, where gray-haired men sweep the bandshell and foxes sleep under church bells. I hear the lank-haired women walking in the morning, their faces shaped by the sun. I live in a parallel place where there's endless electricity with very low voltage, where everyone dies of old age. I live in a parallel place where rain runs into a tunnel, where able-bodied women clear the gutters and dragonflies rise in a slow-motion flutter. I see the able-bodied men hauling fallen branches, their faces shaded by the sun. I live in a parallel place where people speak in peace, where the foreman's spouse greets the mailman in a see-through blouse. I live in a parallel place where the forest faces east, where contracts are written in invisible ink and codes are created with a wink. I see all the people breathing through the day, their faces graced by the sun. Blissful cardinals, blissful infants, blue reflections magnified 10,000 times, blue beams bouncing off aged lenses, radiant artifacts, radiant heirlooms, white sails blistered by the salty sun, white china stacked up in cupboards, shining domes, shining necklaces, green feelings balanced on a yardstick, green parchment weighted down by grapes. How are we doing out there? Any requests? This is one we don't do very often. It's called Automatic Bible. There's a key for the lock. House on beach, a glass terrace with a marble banister. It's a 1 or a 10. White sand and seagulls. House on the beach, a glass terrace with a marble banister. There is a key for the lock. This is one possible ending. The morning started with the Lord Mayor looking through my garbage, then running down an alleyway, guardsmen lining the fire escapes. I was at the airport selling luggage and pleasantries. A 20-year-old let me finish his breakfast in exchange for a letter from his university. With so many people watching slow-motion explosions, I've started turning my sights towards unfiltered colors and unretouched images. Truth and beauty. The unwalked world where cures for disease sleep unnoticed in Brazilian trees is a word problem that I can't solve. With so many people watching slow-motion explosions, I've started adjusting to diagrams, drafting tools, and handmade copper crowns. There are already enough code breakers for the next Cold War. More feathered hats and white suits in the lobbies of the finest luxury hotels that Europe has to offer. More handcrafted sports cars to speed along the smoothest roads the man hath ever known. More than enough gold to flake into steaming broth with sumptuously verdant acres of... signs pointing to the closest church. Hey, he needs an infusion. His coffee is cold. He stayed up all night to see himself dancing on television. The church is closed to be reopened by the mayor's cousin in construction, the glistening grocery store, the tavern with daily fashion shows. He held a conference call, and he's trustworthy because he looks like me. He has to look like me. Anybody who looks like me has to be okay, right? We can't ever possibly get past that, right? The only way that I can ever feel comfortable is to look out into the room and see myself reflected back at me. I am the ultimate solipsist, and if I don't see that, I start to think that it's a simulation, and the people standing around just are little empty shells that go limp as soon as I'm not looking at them. All books on the shelf in the library are blank until I open and flip. That's right, it's all out of my mind, or the mind of the mind, the mind of the maker, right? So it all has to look like me. It all has to fucking look like me, because if it doesn't look like me, then it cannot possibly be me, and if it cannot possibly be me, then what fucking value could it ever possibly have? So he's trustworthy because he looks like me. Big white belly like a fish. The hotel with large chunks of missing bricks. The police station next to the building with a sign that says a law firm. The truck enforcement officer standing in the oncoming lane with his arms outstretched in ecstasy, overseen by a smiling baby who's somehow able to say, I could smile 12 weeks from conception. I show my hand. I know. I show my hand. Two cars, 3 spaces apart in the White Castle parking lot, and one man each gets out on the left. He's wearing jeans and a flannel shirt and a cowboy hat on the right. A charcoal gray business suit. They walk in a V-shaped, meet at the door with a handshake. Then heated conversation. The corners of the cowboy's mouth start to bubble and foam as she's rumbling down the sidewalk. Her skin-tight clothes somehow hang off of her, and she's watched by a man in a tracksuit holding a cell phone to his ear in silence 20 feet away. The party crew pulls a U-turn as she's Lance Romance throws 20s at the guys waving away fruit flies and then shows his pupil why this is the finest fire extinguisher you'll ever find. The party crew spots the car wash and they get in line. They watch the jets bubble and foam, pretend they're superheroes with unlimited powers to make bubbles and foam. Thrandos Industries deployed approved ecosystem and green on a settlement for widespread shit accusingly and secretively retiring her bloodlusting company. Watch it bubble and foam, frozen in place. The beer cans, hair extensions, pubic hair, bondage wear, eagle eyes, white fumes, flying fingers, tops and bottoms, middling kingdom, gamblers rejoice. I am in a flood zone. Watch them bubble and foam, where foreign follows steam, bourbon follows cream, bubble and foam over the safety warning. The crude delights set one's sweat glands reeling. With a shark tooth covered in pudding, the owner urges everyone to look out the window at the condo, tow truck, victim, night, restaurant, uniform, camera, newspaper, bank, park, car, yard, new restaurant, as if he's got some psychic powers. He was taught the meaning of versatility, respect for the law, trust for fistfights, and an arid humor that snorts debris when under the advisement of enforced idleness. How are we doing out there? Huh? This is called We Need Another One. I put on a sweater, put on a sweater, I walked around outdoors, went to the mailbox, It was still dark in the morning time, The handle felt like cold water in my hand as I looked at window after window. I passed my neighbor, said a brief hello. We talked a little louder, because it was still dark in the morning time. I went walking outside, chilly autumn air, in the morning time. Not quite yet. This is called 3% profit. Waking up to the sun-soaked world in the eyes of a diamond stretching out from a full circle. I was at a recital resting on a bed of feathers and then floated to the front of the festivities. A Mercury step leaped through the lake and landed in a leafy soft meadow, my legs a blurring winding wheel. My mom and dad hold out boxes. They walk together to an airplane, then climb up and run across the wings. But soon it's nice and quiet for me, as we can plainly see. I tied a string around an anteater. As we can plainly see, the newspaper says it's better to have metal teeth, as we can plainly see, but I would rather bathe in butter, as we can plainly see. I nicked a little bit of a hammer and nail on my way onto the helicopter. What I knew of physics sped up my entrance. Never seen the sky be so brave and wide, or thought about the joy in watermelons. And when I carefully left the step stool and went into the underground ice tunnel, I ran across a humidifier so the motor could keep my feet warm and not get harmed by frostbite. My eyes hide behind a pregnant woman's stomach while a laser rings into my ears. I try to open a case of sewing supplies, but to my surprise, the latch is bandaged shut. I breathe yellowed air and drink bubbling water and play with friends who live in the shower. I put a cold stream of thoughts in a brown paper bag and wonder where I can tap the telephone. I freeze my face in photos so that I'm not recognized while I page through my scrapbooks. The bugs and the cracks decline my invitations to dance, so therefore they're unwanted. I hiss into the sink until they crawl back so that my party can stay filled with levity and not too much gravity, so I paste my Polaroids all over the walls in geometric patterns and steal some dinner from my next-door neighbors, as it's their fault for having given me a key. My sleeves festooned with pins and wind chimes dangle and jangle, thus announcing my arrival. A curl in the best nest, with an arm that won't do you harm, an idol vibrating on a whirring appliance as we can plainly see. And soon I'm ready to eat, nothing moving suddenly. as we can plainly see, and even sooner still time to sleep. Here's to a night of pleasant dreams, as we can plainly see. What are we doing out there? This is the Vatican Vaults. Shelves lined in no, let's start over. Shelves lined with caskets, ripe fruit piled up in baskets. Sugar cubes and teacups rattle as saucers are dragged across tablecloths. Outside, a crowd sits murmuring. A harmonium coughs discordantly off the spokes of a bicycle wheel, and snakeskin is carefully wrapped around palms. Two men each wear a veil, one off mauve, the other pink lady red. Gravel sits at the bottom of stained glass vials, and mink pelts are smoothed out over tiles. Three elderly spinsters raise their voices in praise, their weathered hands shaking at the sky. Gold medals tied around their waists reflects the sun directly into children's eyes. Four blind beggars fool the crowd into believing they're brothers who compete by tying knots in rope faster than any comers, the act only ending at dusk when they split up their spoils. Stars roll around the moon, back and forth from end to end. Clouds erase them away each new day when each new day begins. Let's do the last verse yet again. Stars roll around the moon, back and forth from end to end. Clouds erase them away when each new day begins. That's how it's supposed to go. Yes. This is called Silent Entertainment. Lightning in the morning, watching from the shore, easy to adore. Blank channel, blank history, camera in my hands. Take a picture so I won't forget. Bluebird arrives every year at this time and sees the river, sees how it shimmers. Palm fronds waving, saved it in a flash of light. Watch the morning rise. See the river, how it shimmers. See the river, see how it shimmers. Shimmers. In a silver plain, see the jungle wet with rain. See the river, how it shimmers. This is called Diamond Mine. Water rushing so fast it looks like knotted wood, its sound a ceaseless perpetual crash in static blue and black. Droplets burst over the plank sides and dot the dirt or land on kicked out bricks, and from the ravine's opposite angle, the water seems to glide clockwise, rolling ever nearer toward the gears, and into the factory where 7 years previous the core of the industry sunk unexpectedly early, and like a defense attorney, the treasurer ruled the materials used were archaic and their methods unrealistic. And as demand seized up, the foreman and night shift technicians acidly joked they were laboring within the Great Repression. For ages, it seemed like the beams from the afternoon sun wouldn't come, but we later learned the view was obscured by a flood that started in the diamond mine. We know it's either tacitly implied or we're told outright. You can't be seen like that. You need lights. When money is exchanged and you're finally responsible and realistic, you can't be seen like that. You need lights. Know the value of being articulate and reconsider your obscure subject. You need to stay in the lines. You need to revise. Realize the need to eliminate images that would be unwise to present or ideas you'd be unable to defend. Why persist if honest people cannot implicitly understand? You can't be seen like that. You need lights. For years, it seemed like the beams from the afternoon sun wouldn't come, but we later learned the view was obscured from a flood that started in the diamond mine. Back in the head office, on the desk next to the coffee scissors and gold pen set, was a black leather envelope and that morning's newspaper, whose subheadline read, "Forget Forgetfulness," and detailed a local photographer who makes elaborate, enormous, near-twin gelatin prints of events, one real, one staged, and described the effect as painting over paintings. When asked by the reporter who will get this, the photographer remarked, "Anyone who misses being pure or ever imagined placing one point in time over another. Anyone who pictures the shape of ideas and not the shape of their mind. Anyone who sees a crowd and tries to find the people in disguise." Later, the paper lay open to the crossword puzzle, and among answers written in indeterminate script were asides like, "Does purpose follow appearance? Where is this from? Reasons better than because," and finally, "Determining what to become." Mm. It's called Conspiracy of Silence. We walk by each other on the street. You do not speak. I can see you have no ambition. You can see I have no standards. I don't speak. We are equals. We are parallel. I've seen you in the water. You've seen me dream. You never eat, and I never sleep. Turn your head, bend your neck. Tiny flower pressed to your chest. We walk by each other on the street, never met, but there's still a blink of recognition. We enter the plane. We're flying over England, viewing from behind the wings, seeing St. George's Cross spread over the aisles to the carriage of the Queen. It's a conspiracy. 35mm slow-motion shot of Bernini's St. Longinus. Who wrapped it round hung the wires that laid at the feet of the Empire? Ever picked up that call? Ever read those books in the basement? We walk by each other on the street. We don't know each other. We don't speak. I roll my eyes, and you repeat the conversation from a passing taxi. It's a conspiracy. conspiracy. Blue, green, we are water, etching lines and rocks, running diagonal patterns on the face of the clock, blurring the note on the windscreen, a pristine, steady stream, or drops from the sky echoing to your mouth, and you need to ask, wondering like your feet are on fire, and these are your first steps into the bath, a murmur, a moan, and you need to ask, ever feel the fog touch your curled hair in the everlasting afternoon? All my dreams, all my dreams. Ah! All my dreams are in blue and green. The herring was red. I sleep on a purple bed with fresh white sheets. It's a conspiracy with a wink of complicity. I can slip right in. And inside improvisation. No, a pantomime playing at the Museum of the Mind. It's easy, it's instant, it's open if you want it. And I want in. Does it diverge from memory? It's a conspiracy. Did the blue dog climb your stairs? What kind of candy was it? And what did you take when you took it? It's a conspiracy. Like the lilting yellow willow, we walk from window to window. We don't know each other. The tempered glass is salt water in our hands. I think I need to give thanks. I think I need to give thanks. I think I see a lantern you're holding out of the ground, and more like the weeping wall curled into a ball and newly resolved. It damn sure ain't a pantomime. It's a mystery. It's a conspiracy. Ever swing on the gutter like a vine? Ever fly over the jungle in a silver plane? See it wet with rain? We walk by each other on the street. You've seen me. I don't know you, and we don't speak. There's an open hand above your head, but it's an optical illusion from the clouds without sound. It's a secret to keep. It's a conspiracy. Was that you on the balcony? What did he say? The painter there. Did you find it confusing? Think it lacks meaning, but look right to left, not center down. It's all one scene. Do you see it now? It is a conspiracy. Yes, you heard me and you made me admit your moment, your Pyrrhic victory. Can I have this dance? It's a conspiracy. We walk by each other on the street. We see each other. We don't speak. Your fingernails are blue. Your lipstick is green. The leather on your boots is frayed at the seams, and I know that in your dreams, you're still 15 with a stolen cigarette you nicked from the vending machine. The lung branches are soaked and your bubble perm is fast falling. And wouldn't it be funny if your interior life from now on is just this moment endlessly repeating? Same photograph on the wall mistaken for a mirror, and you can identify, you can empathize, but you can't know what on earth. We see each other on the street. Duke Ellington, East St. Louis plays the theme. Cast iron boat, Sterling, Silver Symphony. We do not know each other. You start to speak, but it's drowned out by the man with the loudspeaker and the papers proselytizing his religious beliefs. It's like we're curators. Caretakers for something we never saw, never knew, but understand purely on instinct and instant assimilation, empathy, ecstasy, impressions of the senses. We are the examples. It is ours to not let the charted land that gives us food to eat and water to drink, a place to walk and live, vanish in clouds or become such a stranger that we're only hearing clashing tongues and react with a stance that turns wretched, cavalier, and frozen. We will reach and remain unlabeled, walk free in the community, fly over and under unanimity. We are the examples. We trace the dim signal. We will remain enthralled and observe the entrance and relics and rituals without in any use to kiss her off and on her. When you talk to the clouds, can you? When you talk to yourself, father's mother, 7 flowers on 7 stars on the chest of the Creator, we realize what is within and outside of us, what's invisible to the eye and eludes our touch. We understand the light inside the image obscures the image inside the light. The red and blue, the blue and green, you never sleep and we see you dream. It's a conspiracy. Someone said to me, a very wise woman, you see a chair as it is, but when you burn the chair, you see the chair in your head did not burn or disappear. Motor oil on a block of ice, river of fire where a miracle was denied, filtered water poured carefully on top of a block of ice and seeping down the slanted floor slowly toward the recording device, from whom no secrets are hid. I'll believe this one thing even if the rest is lies, until we crystallize straight to heaven. It's a conspiracy? Of course, they're sitting in a circle, a celebration among friends, sharing your favorite passages out of a blank book, closed circle, making notations on the pages with a candle wick. The chandelier hangs beautifully, laughter sparkles, and the champagne from the cellar under the cellar is free. Yes, it's a conspiracy. It's complimentary. You walked in, I woke up. We were docked outside Oyster Bay on a mutual friend's houseboat. You arranged the table, gave a long look, and said, I'll give you good reason to take away my right to vote. We see each other on the street, eyes looking at the stoplight intently and drinking coffee that smells like crayons. The guy next to me on his iPhone reads, Intimations of infidelity were a red herring. Me and the guy selling streetwise laugh at his timing. Must be a counselor, apparently, or a confidence man, or a trial lawyer playing fast and forgetful with the facts, or a city planner changing his mind with a passing glance. We're walking out of Preston, zipping up your leather jacket, and when you said you laid nude with your adversary, I asked how it happened. You accepted the invitation, met in the garden, rested your heads on the stone wall that runs the perimeter. Did you pay rapt attention when in the nightingale told his fairy tale? Did you ache in the silent seconds after the confession? You see me on the streets, I see what's in your hands. Our eyes don't meet as people walk out of Walgreens. You ask, did you pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you? Do you bless those who curse you? I'll tell you this, it's a conspiracy. The morning mass was busy ignoring any message that wasn't theirs. It's a conspiracy? Was that a sneer? We know! She was standing on a corner in South London under a red umbrella on a sunny day, glass necklace and a gold waist chain. Do you have a title? Yeah, but I can't tell you. Look, can I take what I need? I said to her, she said, I'm your sister and you just don't know it. Not a martyr, not a seer, not an abandoned spirit. Is this Don Giovanni? It's a conspiracy? Well, I hailed a limousine. We walked by each other on the street. We've never met. I know what kind of fruit you eat. I have no ambition. You're trying to get my attention by throwing a flag on the feet of the gentleman delivering a block of marbled meat with a business card tucked neatly in the wrapping. 7 numbers in blue ink over the lettering. Did you count the columns around the building? 34 in a perfect circle. Ever been up to the top floor, skip school one day and take the tour? We walk by each other on the street. You're carrying a painting. We won't speak. I don't sleep. You cannot dream. You walk up to the white door and wait for access. You left a book on your desk. The cover was worn and the binding was torn, but you like the questions that it asks. Razor cuts. How many songs can you sing in the sun? How long is the transmission? 7 flowers on your chest. It's not for lack of trying. It's a conspiracy. You walked in an oval. You thought over each permutation of the image's meaning. You looked through the stainless steel window and down to the streets, and then you looked at me. It's a question of genealogy. We see each other. We do not speak. The question, they looked at you. You looked at me. It's a conspiracy. How are we doing out there? This is called Weekend Room. Autumn, carrying a lantern across the bridge, leaves landing in a perfect pattern while water etches lines in rocks. Follow the trail back home and shared pages from a book written with a candle wick. Fingerprints on the sunbeams that shine on the street. Fingerprints on the winding lane that leads to the front of your garden. That was sort of a afterword. It's like 5 years later, 10 years later, whatever. This is called Should I Go In? You should celebrate your free expression every single day. I hope you do. I certainly try to. That's what this is all about. This is called Should I Go In? The silver pepper mill whispers to the hammer that she's an airport. And though she never really shows anybody, I still know that she's an airport. If you stop at her coffee shop, she'll charge you extra for a plastic top. The well-water ice cubes have heard this tale told before, but she's an airport. A zebra's chewing gum can confirm the reports that she's an airport. If you take off your shoes after the security stop, she'll throw them in the air and they'll land in the baggage cart. Run down the runway into the center of the day where the sun is pointing down to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story you'll want to pass along someday. Run down the runway into the center of the day. The sun is pointing down to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story that you'll want to pass along someday. She's an airport, and her father is a farm filled with corn stalks. Her mother is a candy factory spinning reflective baubles. Cessna Tropria, Dena Raretaf, Saya, Maraf, Delif, Hitun, Rak, Sklats, Raretam, Saya, Ednock, Irakaf, Geninip, Sevet, Kelfer, Selbuab. Cessna Tropria, Denara Retaf Saya, Maraf, Delif, Hatun, Raksklats, Raretam Saya, Ednock, Eratkap, Geninip, Sevet, Kelfer, Selbuab. She's an airport and her father is a farm filled with corn stalks. Her mother is a candy factory, spinning reflective baubles. Every color candy. If I could talk to you, I will some more. Just like in today's world of opinion and denunciation and admirable like in pictures and friendliness and outward inliness. Maybe I'm on the thrust of that. She dreamed she was a train draped in robin's egg lace. She couldn't keep still in one place. She dreamed she was the only train running on the 4th of July, filled with whipped cream to burst and streamers to fly. She dreamed she was a train running past the impound lot, and after every platform on the route, she'd whisper, "I still love Phil." She was sad when they closed the gates up at night. She dreamed she was a train filled with die-cast metal engines and cowboy hats, ordered by the civil rights worker's favorite daughter. She dreamed she was a train and her earrings were flashing orange lights. She waved hello to the one car she'd stopped at the tiny suburban crossing, a train to get the tracks loose and rattling. Rattling tracks reminds her of those aunts and uncles talking over each other at her grandma's birthday. 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 Birthday! That's weird. That's even weirder. This is called Canary Milk. Sweltering sun in the forecast, but it's raining right now. Retired teens nostalgic for holograms as their granddads watch rocks roll on the ground and wonder when they can be farmers in glass pods on Mars. While Amanda eats factory fresh candies and laughs jaggedly at vulgar stories. The boy who awoke in the toy aisle one evening moved more elegantly than his mother had ever seen, as he picked items off a worn, well-folded list before deciding he'd rather have a pet eel instead. While Amanda watches her neighbors bickering and daydreams the deleted scenes of their past. The delivery man is ready for the weekend as he ignores reports on the European heat wave, instead marveling about the new house on his route and how much it must cost each month to keep the swans fed and the water in the lagoon fresh. While Amanda feels no urgency to call back her agency and laughs at people voluntarily photographing their chores. All right. Let's call Allison where the blue sea and icebergs are. She's ice cream in there. She's down the hall. She uses words like everything and all. I can hear her, but I can't make out her features. I know she spends her weekends in a cement cinema making notes. The girl next to her tries to see what she wrote. Allison wonders why the guy in the elevator keeps glancing at her, why the weather keeps coming between rain and sun every 30 minutes. She keeps saying, "Quit asking me questions, I'm the one that's innocent." As people assume she's joking, Allison wonders, what are the windows thinking on a day where there's a white line down the center of the sky? Her mind cuts back to the guy in the elevator. Quick, look at me, look at you. We are equals. Allison wonders if she can keep hiding while knowing they're following me. Allison writes, what started out as hopes are now observations, mostly about nature, and being young stops being fascinating once it's done. Allison looks down at her bowl of spinach and her eyes focus down on the details of one leaf, and she quietly speaks. An atheist sees this and can only think of the mud that it grows from. Allison writes, we extend grace out of our own sense of grace and smiles because she's not sure if that's something of her own or something she's half remembering from 2 or 3 incarnations ago. Allison considers why her back and hands are so slippery when she's invisible, and then tells her sister, my tongue is a graffiti sponge. I wonder if I'll have to make love in front of a judge. Allison considers that she's a character who looks and acts exactly like her, and then draws a bath with the lights off. Allison invites her guests to walk barefoot while cherries and red confetti float out of her phone. Allison considers emptying cash registers if the security cameras lose power, but what she mostly wants are completely natural segues with no artificial blends. So with that, make thoughts your aim or nerve blaming when all meet with you at your beginnings, but make allowances for their worn out tools and make dreams a trap for fools after they are gone. Mm. needs to be kept simmering, and the time should flow slowly and quietly. Let's go! My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me as much as I love to see a basket of swimming snowflakes. My shoelaces are undone, so I can throw them next to a trunk full of styrofoam tongues, and the person who brought them yells, "Thank you!" The first person in the castle has the obvious advantage if they wish to scrape their fingernails against century-old windows. They can concentrate vacantly while being unfailingly polite, and insisting their hands are made of the same sand as found outside on the beach. They know there is no joy in failure for their friends, and that the fun and restoration happens once the work is done. The second person in the castle has obvious ease, with boldly seizing treasure only they can see through a fizzing camera lens. They can research quietly while having no qualms about their ambition outstripping their antique abilities in assessing gaudy antiques. They know there is no lemon rich enough in sourness to let their taste get challenged into swallowing insects in soiled tents. The third person in the castle has the obvious edge when turning their profile to face the east end in hopes of preparing a table leg. They can dutifully saw and sweep the dust into the bin until the bell sounds them and they begin slicing up vegetables in the kitchen. They know there is no creek deep enough to keep them from molding jellies into a series of perfectly semi-translucent wedges. I want brass buttons for my cousin because I could not count for cufflinks. They counted for me. Because I could not look for light bulbs. They looked for me. Because I could not dance for diamonds. They danced for me. They realized the chateau has the clear advantage as a place to evaluate flashy antiques. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but I make the rubber buttons that I wear for myself. While I sew, I look at the library and remember each of my most memorable finds. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but I make the rubber buttons I wear on my jacket. I buy the materials from the tan-toothed man who sold my mom a gold wishing box. I want brass buttons for my cousin because when I preach with the collar, it preaches with me. I want brass buttons for my cousin because when I move with the minnows, they move with me. They realize the chateau has the clear advantage for when you're evaluating flashy antiques. Let's go! My shoelaces are undone, so I only walk sideways as I photograph a plum purple terracotta planet with a flag with a price tag sticking out of it. That's hard to know. My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me as much as I love wearing an apricot ascot while hearing stories about Korean camping sites. The first person in the tower can brighten their senses by energetically exchanging sunglasses and hairstyles once safely ensconced up at the top. They can cheerfully sing along with anything, though they prefer Crusoe and ragtime to songs they already don't know. There is usually a fixed point in the distance for them to focus on things such as a helicopter or hawk taking off shortly after dawn. The second person in the tower can loudly shout, "How I love my girl!" which echoes back so overwhelmingly they can think that they are somehow in a private booth. They can detect the scent of her shampoo in the wind and look down to see her looking up and running down towards them. There is normally an iron staircase nailed in 40 years ago, which serves as the one modern addition to the edifice. The third person in the tower can tell endless jokes over dinner about rabbits they saw nipping chocolate from their mother's open purses and posing suggestively with inflatable dinosaurs. They can wear a lei around their necks which contrasts sharply with the pinstripes or got dark life. There's always a sauna where they can fall asleep underneath a slippery painting of their father, all dressed up as a captain. My shoelaces are undone. They lay underneath the warmth of the sun. This is a true depiction, recited with excellent diction. Let's go! Now I recall other memories from walking around the castle, the humidity kept at bay, clouds letting loose only hints of rain, and vines intertwining across each other, and each new flower that blooms another gift for the dozens of bees in love with the newness of June. It's all on top of my eyes. The curious sage in an orange and brown dashiki. All on top of my eyes. all on top of my eyes. I greet the puppies with a smile and attempt to comb my hair for a while. I idle my time on a red velour sofa. It's not mauve, it's not puce, it doesn't look anything like you. It's ugly, it's red, it's got plastic cushions. I spilled my apple juice on that sofa. Or is it a love seat? Or is it a futon? It might be a bidet for all I can see. But whatever the hell it is, I don't want to sleep on it or eat your chocolate cake anywhere near it. I don't even want to go in your house because your dog humps my leg and your boyfriend picks my teeth and your dad chews on my eyelashes and there's not 1 inch of floor space clean enough to lick. You turn my water brown. You're seeing how Granddad dresses like a clown. He's got a big red nose that's not nearly as revolting as that sofa. By the way, I'm not coming over tonight, so quit following me down the hall and hitting on me in the toilet stall. Because any house with that much Elvis on velvet won't find me on their front porch swing or their Norman Rockwell painting. But maybe I will drop by, dressed in armor and a satin hat, with some flowers to the maid and cocktails for the cat who never got me in the sack, and a muzzle for that fucking dog, and I'll cut out your nose hair and put it on your pancakes, and I'll supper is served so the butler can take the night off and throw some darts at Granddad, and for dessert I'll serve pigs in a blanket garnished with spaghetti Suzette with some lighter fluid and a lock of your mom's pubic hair to torch that fucking sofa to the ground, because it ain't Art Deco no matter how hard you try to swing it, and the vinyl siding may go up in flames, but it really ain't Little Big House after all, now is it, Toots? All on top of my eyes. All on top of my eyes. Standing before a statue of the stripped Christ, arms open and hovering. All on top of my eyes. Lithium batteries in between her teeth. She holds a screwdriver dipped in green paint as she walks over underground cables. All on top of my eyes. In between her toes. She stays off headaches with gallons of water and sleeping when she can. All on top of my eyes. The swells of excitement are just one continued drone. Close concert of ideas. Stretching fingers. You did a great job today. Devoted. Seriously. All on top of my eyes. One wonder. One today. A blue wave sprayed gently onto the window. It remained an unfaded crescent reaching over the rooftop. Birds flew through untethered. Droplets yawned in sonorous applause. The shape succumbed, giving way by matching passing movements, as when water splashes in the sky. A maypole stands unraveled while a sunfish kisses a butterfly. The fences were then a canvas, soaked tissue papers sprung over electrical wires, fragile fork tails freshly shaven, as bronze tiger beetles glanced up at the heavens. Dance the night away! And that, folks, wraps up another exciting edition of the Quarantine Stream. We hope we're still broadcasting. Anyway, we'll get out of here quickly because we may not be. Oy vey. That would be lousy. Anyway, let us hear the Quarantine Stream theme one more time, shall we? It's a shame if that didn't get picked up. Maybe it is. I think this happened once before. Anyway, let us hear the song one more time. The little jangle one more time. Beautiful. All right, folks. By the grace of God, we will be back next week. Though I am fairly confident that we will be. Anyway, until then, just remember, stay safe, stay smart. Here's the really important part. Stay free. And don't trust anyone who tells you that you are not free, especially if they are saying that they will be the ones to free you. Never trust them. stay free because you already are. Okay? Yeah. All right, everyone. By the grace of God, like I said, we will be back next week. And hopefully we are still on the air somehow. Anyway, until then, thank you for watching. We hope that you've enjoyed this. And big special thanks to our wonderful opening acts, Wow Beautiful and Mount Haku. So hope you've enjoyed this. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.